All right, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, depending where you are, depending on which day of the week you are listening to this. It's a great pleasure for me to be here. And first and foremost, I would like to thank the TRA Virtual Academy for the opportunity to share with you today some of the lessons learned, the best practices, and some of the thinking we've been putting together in this new normal. We call it shaping the new normal with the intelligent enterprises. So is there any difference from an enterprise that is intelligent and an enterprise that is not intelligent? So this is a bit of what we are going to cover today, and it's going to be my pleasure to be talking to you. My name is Pedro Pereira. I'm originally from Brazil, and I work for SAP, a software company from Germany that is helping organizations worldwide to run better and to improve people's lives. Apart from being heading innovation adoption for SAP across the entire region of EMEA South, I also work as mentor and board member and investor of startups. I have a big passion for startups, and that's something that I do very often. So if you have a startup right there and you need help, you can count on me. I really love helping startups out there. Another hat that I wear is that we have the Singularity University chapter in Dubai, and I have the pleasure to be the ambassador of Singularity University in Dubai. So this is also something that we share, exponential thinking, and talk about exponential technologies and the impact of that in our day-to-day. So I'm going to jump into our session today. I hope that session is going to be very interactive. We're going to talk about ideas. We're going to talk about cases of our organizations worldwide and also from the region here that are doing their level best to shape the new normal. And you are also part of shaping the new normal. So I hope this becomes a conversation that is relevant and useful to all of us. So just to give you a bit of a context about what we are talking about. For the past few years, my job has been helping organizations to embrace the intelligent enterprise strategy. Yes. So an intelligent enterprise is an organization that from one hand have their operations, and on the other hand, they have the experience that their stakeholders, their customers, their employees will have. And bringing operations and experience together through intelligence makes an organization an intelligent enterprise. It's been great. We've been meeting organizations, we've been sharing with them use case, best practice, ways that they can digitally transform. But you know what happened? It all stopped. We've been asked by our governments to stay home and to focus on, saving our lives. And all of a sudden, instead of talking about technology, we rush to the supermarkets to purchase basic need products. And in some countries, some of our employees, some of our colleagues worldwide, they faced a difficult time. And not only that, we also had to stay in contact through technology, using technology more than ever to speak to each other, to see each other like we are doing right now. So that has been a big impact for all of us. But, technology doesn't allow us to see everything that is happening around us. Actually, we as individuals, as companies, as teams, we are responding to this current crisis in different ways. You might be home and facing work and also the current life with your family. And the objective of this conversation today is really to understand how we can actually cope with this situation. So a bit of our experience on how to use technology to help our customers and to help our customers to help their own customers. And I'm pretty much sure you also are on the same boat, because you might be an employee, you might be a customer, you might be involved in business in a way or on another. So you are with us in this conversation about how we can take it to the next level. Great. So part of the conversation today is going to be, in the first place, about react to the current situation. The second part of our conversation today will be about also how we can start planning, to recover, to get back and recover when this situation goes away. And looking further ahead, how we are going to transform our organizations, maybe our way of life, and reinvent ourselves. And what I have to say, this is not a linear process, it's a cycle, right? So what I want you to think about in this session right now, the better we react, the sooner we will recover, the stronger we will reinvent ourselves and be able to react in the future on similar situations. Right? So if you're listening to me right now, I want you to repeat that. Yeah, I know it's a bit weird, but repeat that with me. The better we react, the sooner we will recover, the stronger we will reinvent ourselves and be able to react in the future on similar situations. That's a bit of our conversation today. Let's move on. So, the first thing that is important here is to focus on how we react. And as our conversations with customers is happening and we see the needs out there, one thing appears most of all, which is leveraging the capacity of the technology to analyze big volumes of data from any source and bringing intelligence to that data in real time. So let's deep dive on this. How we support public authorities and public in general to understand what is going on. What you see in front of you right now is a dashboard that has been created by our Italy team to understand the impact of the virus in the population, how it was expanding, how many cases, for us to be able to track and analyze the situation continuously. And not only that, when we add geospatial capabilities, we can actually help healthcare with their data and turn healthcare into an intelligent enterprise to cope with the situation. And doesn't stop there. What if we add real-time information like the mobile devices and maybe wearables, right? Can we help tracking how we move out of confinement? So technology is helping how to understand and take action. Another great way of taking action and respond to requests is a great case in Germany, right? So Germany has been working with SAP to reach out to thousands of citizens. Yes, so the German government wants to bring home tens of thousands of stranded Germans amid the coronavirus crisis. And SAP has built a mobile-ready site for the German Foreign Ministry that would make it easier for roughly 120,000 Germans stranded overseas to make arrangements to fly back home. Germany, which has urged its citizens to return home immediately, has set aside 50 million euros for the return campaign. And the technology is helping them to coordinate that find your way home much easier. And not only that, we've seen also ways of helping our customers with their broken supply chains. As you can imagine, people are looking for their vendors, their suppliers, and their suppliers are not able to help them. And here's where we see the opportunity to quickly reach out to other sources. Let's say if you depend on China and they cannot provide you the basic materials you need, how you handle that kind of situation. Here's where we see the power of the platforms and networks. On our case, we open up the Ariba Discovery platform where buyers could connect to millions of companies offering the products they needed. For example, if you search for a healthcare related equipment where suppliers failed, some of our customers with the provision of that information. But then in the network itself, you can find other 4,000 potential suppliers and run the whole process of negotiation and reaching an agreement with that supplier in real time. Now, a great case of the power of the network is a hospital in the US that was able to find a supplier with 500 hospital beds in less than 30 minutes. Imagine, in the middle of this crisis, finding hospital beds was critical, and the supply of those hospital beds was really something not easy to find. But with the power of the business network, which extends your reach, this hospital was able to solve the problem in less than 30 minutes. This is what we're talking about in terms of power of the technology for us to react to the situation. Now, one of the things that is really affecting all of us is confinement, right? Working from home, disconnected from customers and employees. And I'm pretty much sure if you're listening to me, you're also facing something like that if you're on the business community. Now, what can we do in that kind of situation to stay closer to our employees? Here's where SAP has implemented the SAP Employee Pulse Survey, which allows us to reach to our employees, let them express how they are feeling, and apply machine learning to understand that. So as a business manager, I can see first and foremost how employees are impacted by the situation. Where should we be taking action to help these employees exactly? And using natural language technology, helping to understand the key areas of concern. Is it the technology? Is it the motivation? Or a family issue that is getting everybody stuck? Are there areas that we can take action before it becomes a problem itself? So here, an intelligent enterprise leverage all that information that is collected in real time in order to take action. And as a matter of fact, this very same approach has been applied from 7,600 companies that are using these capabilities for free, by the way, from SAP. And there was a recent article that was published sharing the learnings of this study. And there are three main findings of that study. And first is a dedicated workspace. People were really complaining that they may not have a dedicated workplace that they feel comfortable to contribute to the business. Second is the utilization and availability of technology. They are concerned about the technology available. And third is actually the definition of what success looks like. Does that sound familiar to you? Are you facing some of those three main findings of this survey? I'm definitely on the same boat. So to address the first two elements, one of the things that we have done immediately, and you can actually use the QR code in front of you now to scan and go to the Remote Readiness and Productivity Academy. Yes, we opened up our training platform so that employees and our customers could understand how to work in this new moment, in this new situation. So if you have your mobile phone right now, just open your camera and scan the QR code in front of you right now. And what's going to happen is that you will find all the training that we have available in our training platform. And it's a great pleasure that some of those training we're doing in partnership with the TRA Academy as well. And for how we actually contribute to this business situation takes me to the second topic, which is recovery. How we are going to be successful, how we are going to be useful to our organization, how we're going to grow. Before I deep dive on recover, do you have questions? Do you have comments? Is there anything that is important to you in terms of react? I really want you to go to the chat now and share your ideas about what would you do, or maybe what are you doing to react to the short-term situation that we're facing right now. And I would like to comment on your comments, on your questions, and make this as interactive as possible. So I'm just looking at the chat right now and trying to find some of your questions. And as you are getting some of those, I will be talking to you about that. So let's go into recover. How we are going to be successful, how we are going to be useful to our organizations, and how we are going to grow in this moment of time. And I have to say, through technology, we can help our employees to remotely be successful. But first and foremost, we need to enable the employees to complete their tasks and to run their business processes. Let's find an example. So imagine the usage of the technology of SAP called signature management. It allows sending documentation to a customer, confirming the signing of an agreement, and ensuring the whole process is legally binding without any need for a physical contact whatsoever. This is when you have the technology to help in that old style physical document that people would have to sign, all becoming digital from now on. And as people receive that, they can sign digitally online, and that comes back as part of your business process. So it allows people to work as usual, even if they are working from home. Another thing that's extremely relevant for us is that we continue to stay in touch with our customers. We must enable our teams to stay in contact with their customers. And in here, we also have an opportunity to help organizations to quickly move from a physical world to a world that is 100% online. But it's not only by opening up digital channels, as you can imagine. Think about this. We must enable branch managers, store managers, consultants to remain in contact with their customers. And here's where we use the power of experience management so that we can collect feedback in real time, what the customers are feeling, what is the expectation, and what is the experience throughout each step of the journey. Digitally, we can collect that information and we can make that experience more meaningful to all of them. This is the power of SAP Experience Management. And experience is the foundation for everything in life. And some customers, they are telling us that their online channel are getting overloaded. I'm talking about here call centers, response teams, customer service teams. And in here, what we see is using technologies like chatbots that help to take off the workload from our customers facing agents. And what you see in front of you now is a great case from Group Mutual that is using chatbots to respond to customers' inquiries 24/7. So you can imagine that they can scale some of those agents using those bots in real time. But let's say you believe that a bot cannot lead the interaction with your customers. So machine learning can actually help here and trigger that message to the right person, to the right channel at the right time. And this is where we use the SAP ticketing intelligence. So every communication that goes to the organization, before touching an employee, an individual, a human, the machine will route that information, will understand the context of the message. Again, using natural language processing, machine learning, in order to route that in the right way. And before reaching a person, we also have the power of the intelligent robotic process automation, which is a modern way for you to run business processes, bringing different interactions across many systems done by the machine itself. So what happens here, you reduce the interaction from employees that are not required, and you give back employees the time they need to have empathy, to connect in a meaningful way with their customers. And as you can imagine, when we put all those robotic process automation in place, we can enable new business models. For instance, what we are doing with the BNP Paribas, it's a bank that is using all this technology for onboarding. They reduced the know your customer, the onboarding of a customer from 25 minutes all the way down to 5 minutes. So they've been interacting across 12 applications, right? The time to market to make it happen was only 6 weeks, and they deployed more than 200 bots that reduced dramatically the amount of need from people in the process. So again, giving people the more meaningful work with the customers. Does that make sense to you? Do you think robotic process automation using chatbots would help your business? This is shaping the new normal. Now, at some point, we need to go back to work, right? We need to recover by resuming our activities and going back to the office. And here's where we need to enable a safe return. And a safe return means leveraging a contactless environment so people go back to their offices, so people start having an experience in the office that has never been there before, where we use facial recognition to look at your ID, and you can go through a building without any contact with any human being, reducing the risk of infection itself. So it analyzes your face, it understands you are who you say you are, and lets you in if you have the permit to be in that workplace itself. And a great example here is what we are doing in Hong Kong as we are resuming our activities of SAP offices in Hong Kong. We ensure the most reduced risk by enabling a contactless onboarding of the people that come to the office. Everybody that come in, they have a survey that let them accessing the building, and a QR code that let them respond to questions as they come in. So we understand in real time, we have visibility of that. If you want to see that survey, again, the QR code is in front of you now. You can scan and see a bit of how we do the onboarding of visitors when it comes to the coronavirus situation. Does that make sense to you so far? Are you enjoying the session? We've been talking about recovery. We've been talking about ways that we can go back to a situation, or maybe to a different situation, but using technology in the most smart way to do that. And again, I would like you, when it comes to recovery, what are your ideas? What are your questions? Is there anything you believe it's a best practice for recovery when we go back to work, when this entire situation starts, reshaping the new normal? I want to hear from you, and I want that to be very interactive as well. So I count on your questions coming through the chat for us to do that together. Now, let's move to the last part of this section, which is Reinvent. What Reinvent means? So when we win, when there is victory against this crisis, against coronavirus, what's going to happen in day one? What would you do? Would you travel? Would you go to your favorite restaurant? What would you do in this environment? So what kind of demand is going to change as we go into it? So as we move into this new era for our lives and for business, I would like to draw your attention to 3 key aspects for us to reinvent. First and for all, we have an opportunity to apply more purpose to technology, right? Technology is not only for the sake of, technology. Technology must be applicable to something that has purpose behind. And I'm going to share a couple of examples to you. And secondly, integration. We noticed that in this crisis, integration becomes a key topic, so that your supply chain, so that the way you deal with your customers, the way you deal with your employees, it's all part of one. And that integration is fundamental. But then we also need to realize that we need to move and rely on networks and ecosystems to be resilient. We are not alone, especially in business, we are not alone. So the power of the network helps us to be resilient in business. And one great example here, and it comes prior to this crisis, but it has the foundation of a technology that's been applicable with purpose, is the case of Queensland Government that is analyzing a vast amount of data, 187 million records in real time, using OCR SAP machine learning technology to utilize data to identify taxpayers not having capacity to pay. And you might think that they are doing that because of fraud. And it's not. They are using the power of the technology here to a higher purpose, to reach out to those citizens, to those small businesses, and help them out. Using the technology to help them will actually help the economy of Queensland Government. And this is how they use the power of technology with a little bit more purpose. But then everything is connected, like I said, and supply chains that are linear, where you plan, you design, you manufacture, you deliver, you operate in sequence. That's not how it works anymore. We are actually converging supply chains through a digital supply chain capability, where every touch point is connected. When you plan, you also review your design. When you operate, you understand things that you can change on your manufacture. And when you deliver, you understand that you have to do change on your design that comes back to a better experience to your customers. So a network that completely reimagine your supply chain so that we can work in a digital world that is connected, fostering, even enforcing cooperation across the functional silos, and eventually the elimination of the silos themselves, leading to a much greater decision-making process. So how we actually can help those organizations regarding demand management. And here's what I'm very proud of: the integrated business planning called IBP capability from SAP that helps you with your supply and demand alignment. It's a great way for you to visualize the cause effect of your demand, so that you understand when and how and why that demand will come to you in real time. So managing demand is critical for organizations to reinvent their future. But not only that, we have an opportunity here to manage risk with our suppliers like never before. Imagine that you visualize your entire supply chain and you can make decisions around risk across the board. So you can make search of risk incidents, compliance topics, things that helps you to understand how your supply chain is actually connected to those risks and how that affects your business itself. And needless to say, the ability of managing your profitability across the whole chain altogether. Here's the power of business analytics applied to finance, so that you see the value flow across your entire supply chain, and you can manage that in real time. So you have a visibility of your liquidity. You can have that visibility across everywhere you operate. It's a dashboard that helps you with your liquidity by company code, by region, your financial position, your liquidity by currency, you name it. Businesses nowadays are operating worldwide, and there is no such a thing as a one way of operating worldwide. So you need to use the power of data in order for you to have a decision-making process that is based on a proper analysis by each specific region. And one last thing that we do here as well is to extend our business network, counting on whatever that helps you to deliver the best experience to your customers, to your people, the best way you can. So here's where we have logistics business network that is supporting the freight industry and keeping essential goods moving. It's a partnership with Uber Freight so that the supply chain that you have visibility on your operational systems, maybe using SAP, is also leveraging the ability for you to reach to your customers using Uber Freight. So you extend the capabilities of your supply chain and make it integrated and as one. So its purpose is integration, and it's the power of the business networks. Fair enough? I hope so far you've been looking at ideas that helps you to react, that helps you to recover, and that helps you to reinvent what's going to be the future of your business. And some of the businesses nowadays, they are actually operating in the dark. They are operating without taking advantage of the opportunities of improving the experience of their customers, improving the experience of their employees to make their business even stronger. And this is what the future is all about. So if you are not able to digitally use those capabilities in order to give your business an edge, doesn't matter if we are in a crisis or not. That's going to affect your business dramatically. And what many people out there are saying is that most likely digital transformation has been accelerated because of this crisis, and I fully agree with that, because now it's clear the power of the technology to take your business to the next level. So as we speak here, I'm gonna be opening for questions in a minute from now, but I want you to think about your questions on React, Recover, and Reinvent. And one more thing, if you really want to deep dive a little bit more on the content that I'm sharing with you here, we have put together a paper called SAP Helps that goes through different industries, and each one of those industries with a point of view of how you can use technology in these challenging times. And again, you can use the QR code on your screen right now. Just pull your mobile device and make sure you have access to the link that you see on the screen so that we can continue this conversation after this. Another great asset that I believe is going to help you as well is this practical help to tackle COVID-19 disruption. It's a letter from the SAP CEO, and it has free access to every SAP customers out there. So if you're an SAP customer or not, I think this is an important asset that you can leverage. Great. So I'm going to thank you for now, but I'm going to move to the questions, and I'm going to do that going through the chat. I hope it has been useful for you so far. So let's see here some of the questions that I have been receiving from you guys. Please start sharing your questions right now. Let's address these questions as we speak here, right? So how can an intelligent enterprise contribute in creating a safe work resumption post the current challenge? It's a great question. I think we've been touching upon some of these ideas. One of the things here, like I said, is this contactless way of coming back to work, right? So the more you can avoid paperwork, right, as you're going to the office, the better it's going to be for people to be really against this possibility of infection. So we shared some ideas on that, and thank you very much, Mariam, for asking that question here. So I also see here, personally, the first thing to do is to bring my family to UAE as they stuck in Sweden, and like it happened in Germany, right? You saw the power of the technology to reach out to those citizens stranded worldwide so that we can coordinate that. And again, technology can help that. And I hope, Saleh, that you get your family back with you safely as well. So going through a little bit more of the questions here, what do you think happened after COVID-19 for businesses and the possibility of a global recession? It's a big question. And I think that, nobody will have the answer to you right now. But one thing that is a thing that is on our control is the contribution we make, is how we use the power that we have in front of us, which is the technology, the people around us, our human mind. The solution for any problem is in the human mind. So if you're able to collect those nudges of intelligence, those wisdom words of how we can use technology with purpose, I think this is going to be part of the solution when we come back. And when it comes to a global recession, a recession will be sorted through creativity. A recession will be sorted through more demand and more supply. So you and me, we are part of the equation here. So if we put our brains together to create innovation that supports in that process, this is how we get out of any recession, not only this one, but any recession out there. So I have addressed some of the questions of the chat here, and I want to make it a conversation. So I will ask you guys to share a little bit more of the questions on the chat before we move forward here. So waiting for some of the questions to come through as well. Okay, there is a great topic here. How can we encourage businesses and governments to make customer experience a priority? Excellent question. So, do you think your experience is a priority? I think mine is. I think when I prepare to come and talk to you in this live today, I need to make sure that your experience is great. And why not governments and companies to do that as well? And to be really honest with you, I'm glad to be living in the UAE as a country. The leadership of the country takes the experience of its citizens seriously. As you know very well, here there are so many activities and strategies from the government to take our experience to the next level. In everything it's being done, this happiness element is critical, is the foundation. But not only that, initiatives that makes the country to become paperless, initiative that helps the country to adopt technology in the more meaningful way. And as you can see during this pandemic, how quickly the country is reacting to the situation, I think it determines how quickly we are going to recover and how quickly we can reinvent the whole economy. So I believe the country of the United Arab Emirates, and I'm speaking to you from Dubai right now, those are great places that are setting a new standard to the world. And I think we can go even beyond. We can do more. And again, for us to go beyond and do more, you are part of it as well. So if you have ideas, share with us, share with the government, share with your company. This is the best time ever for us to build, to create innovation that is meaningful. All right. So let's go further a little bit. Yeah, thank you so much. It's saying it's a fun lecture. Yes, having fun is also very important right now. I don't know, look at around you, what makes it fun for you? So you can imagine I'm having a lot of conference calls all the time, right? So what I keep with me to make those conference calls a little bit better, I have my books, right, that I can refresh my mind as we go. I have many things around me. Even sometimes when I go into my conference calls, I wear hats like this one. It says happy, as you can see here. I really want everybody to see that we need to celebrate the moments, the happiness moments we have in our life. So yes, having fun is part of the equation, and I'm glad you're saying we're having fun in this session right now. Thank you so much. You're saying that is a very informative session. Thank you. I appreciate that. Do you think that AI didn't help us to overcome this situation? It's a fantastic question. Should be the role of artificial intelligence to help us overcome this situation. But then I ask you a question. What has been the discussion around artificial intelligence recently? Is it to solve our problems, or is it a narrative that maybe artificial intelligence can take out our jobs? Think about that. Instead of us putting energy of talking about a technology that can help us out, we can think of that technology as a way to remove our jobs. We lose an opportunity to use properly that technology. So what I tell you is that artificial intelligence can help a lot. I shared with you some examples on intelligent robotic process automation. So these repetitive tasks that we are doing as humans, we can give it to machines. We can give AI a go on some of those repetitive tasks and let AI help us out. And AI at scale could do more for us. So I believe that this is a great opportunity for the real use cases that help out from AI to appear and make us go out of the situation and even improving our quality standards in the future. Going through a little bit more questions. Intelligent enterprise expects to assist in predict the risk, yet now with COVID-19, right? Yes, it's just what I said right now, Mariam, sorry. Yes, but are we using the technology as we should? Remember, we need to think of utilization of technology with purpose. We need to use technology integrated, and we need to do that in a networked fashion, right? There's no other way that any technology will help us if it's not connected to that level. And I tell you, people have been talking about digital transformation for a while. For me, digital transformation is a thing of the past. So if you're talking about digital transformation, it means that you didn't transform yourself yet. And it means that you are operating in the old standards. An intelligent enterprise is an enterprise that is ready, but not only with the technology, but with the mindset of bringing in the people to use that technology with the purpose. All right, so I see a lot of people thanking for the session. It's really a great active participation and contribution from everyone. I really appreciate that. And I want to continue this conversation. So for my friends from the TRA Academy, I make myself available. This is really fun. This is really a platform for us to have a conversation and share some of the best practices. So I make myself available for future sessions as well. And before I go, I will give a room for one last question for us here, so I can give you back some time so that you come back for sessions in the future where we'll have more time together. So I see one last question here. Is there any special plan for enterprises to recover after COVID-19? Well, we talk about that, right? Recover. First is react, then you recover. But is it recover or reinvent? Think about your business. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and an entrepreneur was talking about their marketplace for parties, right? Imagine if you spent a lot of time fundraising for making a marketplace for parties. It's going to be a pretty tough time, right? So that people are not doing parties anymore. So maybe you don't have the demand you expected, or maybe the demand you proposed to your investors in the first place. So what happens now to that marketplace? Basically, they have to think out of the box. And what the entrepreneur in that case was talking is the ability of turning parts virtual. So what if now, instead of sourcing a physical party, you have a virtual party? What if you coordinate the live with clowns or anybody that can entertain people in a virtual way? what are the new ways for us to party in the future? Is this a topic that is about recover, or is it a topic about reinvent? I leave that to you, and I'm pretty much sure that the levels are the same for everybody now. Doesn't matter if you have a lot of experience or you don't have much of experience. None of us ever faced a situation like this before. So it means that every idea matters. Every person has the opportunity to come up with something that will change the way we live, the way we work, the way we relate to each other, right? So as my last point to you, think about all the opportunities you have to reinvent yourself, and make sure that you apply that with purpose and you take experience as the foundation for everything you do, right? It's been great. Thank you so much, everyone. Great interaction. I love what's happening here. And again, focus on being at your best. This is the time you have to be at your best. And I thank you very much for your time today. It was great to be with you, and see you all next time.